Whenever a button is released, my controller module here will actually let me know by firing a corresponding released event. So just below the pressed handler here, I'm going to add a new event handler for the released event. Just like with the pressed event, the controller module passes along the name of the button that was released as an argument, so I can also add a button name parameter in this event handler in order to know which button was just released. However, for this particular application, I just want to ensure that both of the motors are stopped whenever any button is released, and I don't really need to know which button fired the event in this case, so I'm actually going to opt out of taking in the button name as an argument and add 2 lines in this handler to tell both of the motors to stop. At this point, you might be thinking, whenever the left button is pressed, we're actually only telling the right motor to move, so isn't it a bit of a waste to call leftMotor.stop? Maybe we should just check the button name in this handler to ensure we're only stopping the motors that are currently in motion. Now I agree with that thought to a certain extent, but I want to point out that there's no harm in calling stop on an already stopped motor, and it would take a little more effort here to account for each button press, rather than just making a generalized statement that all motors should be at rest when no buttons are pressed. But if you feel like it would be more efficient to handle each button differently, then I will leave that as an exercise for you to do on your own. Okay, now that should be all of the code we need to get this tank rolling, so let's see what happens. Alright, now I'll pull up the camera window so you can see me drive this thing. And if I press up on the D-pad, the tank should move forward. Very good. Press down, should move backwards. Hopefully, there it goes, alright. And back up, turn to the right. Now hit left button, it should turn to the left. Good, very good. Seems like the motor's working out alright. Press down, bring it on back. Try not to run over the cord. It's kind of the downfall of having a tethered connection here. But overall, seems to be working pretty well. Now the D-pad certainly gets the job done, but it leads to the tank's movement being choppy and not very fluid, since you can't easily turn left or right while moving forward or backward. Additionally, there really isn't a good way to make the speed variable with each button press, as the button is either pressed or released, without any tracked movement in between to be able to accelerate or decelerate the tank. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to resolve all of these issues by using the left and right joysticks on the controller, which will give us a more natural and fluid driving experience.